Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ABPLIVE Startup Conclave, Future Forward. It's an event that brings together thought leaders, innovators, and industry pioneers who are clearly disrupting the market. They're changing the game and shaping our India's startup ecosystem. And today's panel is titled India's Startup Landscape 2030, Navigating Challenges and Seizing Opportunities. And all three gentlemen here have clearly identified a gap and they've seized the opportunity. Three disruptors right here. We've got an introduction. I'll quickly introduce everybody again. Abhishek Agarwal, the co-founder of Farmly. Farmly is transforming India's dry fruit and nuts industry, a brand that has bridged the gap between farmers and consumers. And you've also empowered farmers by offering them better access to markets and fair pricing. Nitesh Singh, the co-founder of Blue Tea. He's the force behind Blue Tea, a brand that's taken India's tea tradition to a global market. Innovative, healthy, and very visually captivating products. We'll know about his industry as well. And Mr. Dharamveer Singh Chauhan, the co-founder and CEO of Zostel, an absolute game changer in India's hospitality space, creating unique and affordable travel experiences for millennials and backpackers. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. So I think the first thing I want to know from all of you here is, what was that specific gap that you identified that your startup addresses right now? Let's start with you, Abhishek.
Hello. So at Farmly, we are centered around the idea of making snacking more healthy, more wholesome, and indulgent. The idea arises from like the healthy snacking should not be just about the health angle. It can't be just about ingredients. People have played saying healthy from the last decades or 2 decades or so. The idea to make healthy snacking more tasty, more convenient, more accessible for the customers is what we identified. The main ingredient that we chose was dry fruits and nuts. Again, from the angle of value addition, the dry fruits are perceived healthy. So as a brand, we don't want to call again and again, like, Farmly brings healthy products. For us, healthy products are a table stake. The work now is to how we can make products more tastier and how can we make it more accessible for the population of India. So that's the gap we identify. Today, as you said, we work with more than 5,000 farmers to ensure that we have the highest quality of ingredients, highest quality of dry fruits going in our products. And we have our in-house highly invested infrastructure to ensure that we have the right products, right taste preferences across different regions of India. And that's how we come up with products like Date Bites, products like Makhana Munchies, to make it available in a more convenient mode for the customers.
All right. Nitesh, what was the gap that you identified? You're truly passionate, you're a fitness freak yourself. It started with green tea.
Yes, actually, I am a fitness freak. I love playing any sport, gym. So I used to drink green tea. And when I was drinking green tea, it was very difficult to drink 2 times of green tea. So Sunil, my co-founder, he found a drink in Thailand which gives a blue color. So it was made from butterfly pea flower. In India, which we call it Shankpushpi or Aprajita. And it was blue, it was healthy, and that's why I started ki health ke liye, for healthy things can't be bitter. It can be tasty also. So our brand, why we started, the gap was ki health bitter होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है यार, वो I think tasty भी हो सकता है. So that's why we started Blue Tea. And when we move forward, we found कि innovation अब तक टी में हुआ नहीं है. 20 साल से वही टी पिलाई जा रही है, कड़वी चाय मार्केटिंग की जा रही है, बॉलीवुड स्टार्स लाए जा रहे हैं, प्रमोट किया जा रहा है कि इससे आपका वजन कम हो जाएगा, बस कड़वा पीते रहो पीते रहो पीते रहो. और आई थिंक हमने एक सर्वे रन किया, वी फाउंड कि 50% पीपल लोगों ने कहा, दे सेड कि ग्रीन टी बहुत कड़वी है. 44% लोगों ने कहा मेरा वजन तो कम नहीं हुआ, बाकी 6 ने कहा अच्छा है. सो उसके साथ साथ वी फाउंड कि ना टी में प्रीमियमाइजेशन बहुत इम्पॉसिबल है इफ यू सेल एनी अदर टी. सो वी फाउंड कि यार दिस टी इज समथिंग न्यू, we can create a category and we can charge higher from the consumer because they're getting something new. And when we went forward in the journey, then we saw कि लोग हमसे कह रहे हैं कि बॉस इसको पी के तो मेरा कुछ बीपी बेटर हो गया, मेरा शुगर लेवल कम हो गया. This is a tea called hibiscus. If anyone above age of 50, they should drink hibiscus. if you drink hibiscus 2 times a day, naturally you'll feel कि आपका बीपी, कोलेस्ट्रॉल आपका डाउन हो गया, शुगर कंट्रोल अपने आप लो हो जाता है. तो आयुर्वेदा में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. वी ब्रिंगिंग दोज हर्ब्स, they are caffeine free, and we are solving wellness issues of wellness issues of people, and we are becoming a brand who stands for the wellness and through herbs. Thank you.
Dharamveer, thank you so much, Nitish. Dharamveer Singh, you're an absolute game changer, like I said, creating affordable travel experiences for millennial backpackers. How did you identify this? Because your market is a very competitive market, the hospitality space. How did you identify this gap?
So I think one of the industries I come from Jodhpur, I used to hate was hospitality. Like every other, my cousin, everybody, or like my family has been there. And when I was interning in Europe, luckily in my undergrad, and the whole idea was to travel across Europe. And at that point in time, I slept around at railway stations, had these night trains, and experienced couch surfing and backpacker hostels for the first time. This is 2011. And as soon as I was in a backpacker hostel, there were other people who wanted to meet and talk. And I made friends, I think probably the first evening. And as soon as that happened, I was an entrepreneur till then as well. So the way the entrepreneur thinks is, hey, what's the value of a new friend right now, right? And there's so much learning that's happening. It's the real education in a true sense. And why is this not in India? As simple as that. And for almost 2 years, I kept researching. There were no backpacker hostels in India. Hospitality as an industry, obviously, keeps growing. India, I feel, still is at a very early stage. Globally, we have to get a way better image. Less than half the people who visit Paris as a city visit India as a country, right? So I think there's a lot less, I will say, internal competition for the hostel. We really wanted to do something innovative. As soon as we opened up, we were the first ones. We got so much love from the young people, the backpackers, the inbound travelers. People didn't want to leave the hostel. They wanted to sleep at common room, at staircase, anywhere, because that was the kind of love they were getting. And it's been 11 years now, we are at 100 places. What started out of as a passion project in India that it should be there. Today we are the world's largest backpacker hostel chain. And it's still a young industry. If you look at globally, the youth are still starting to travel. Backpacker hostel as a concept is still new. I'm not sure how many of you guys or your family or maybe some cousins would have experienced a backpacker hostel, but I was recently visiting in Dubai, His Highness over there also. They think 4 people or 6 people staying in a room is like a labor camp. So the whole Middle East region is untapped with backpacker hostel. United States has Airbnbs, but no backpacker hostel per se. So I'm very hopeful and excited that, in the next decade, we'll take the spirit of a lot more inclusiveness that's more Indian, I think culture and Eastern culture and export it around, and I think that's where the next generation is headed towards, that, you do a lot of things, then at the last level, where is meaning, right? So you find that in traveling, discovering yourself, meeting other people. So we are kind of philosophical in that sense.
So like I said, all 3 of you are disruptors in your market. You found something very new. So I'm sure your challenges would have been very different as well. So Abhishek, family works in a sector which is dominated by very unorganized players. You work with farmers. So how do you tackle that?
So I think when we launched our brand was launched in 2022, and we have invested almost 5 years of our journey in developing the back-end linkages. Like it took us 5 years to understand the dry fruits and nuts industry, to understand the qualities, to work with farmers. So I myself stayed almost a year in Bihar to understand the overall makhana market. We have our own processing facility in Bihar. So it took us a good amount of time, good amount of investment to be able to work around and develop these back-end linkages or own in-house farm gate processing units very close to farmers. So we have a processing unit in Bihar for makhana, we have a processing unit in Sangli for raisins, in Mangalore for cashew. So we have done that groundwork to ensure that we get into that unorganized industry, try to figure out, try to organize the quality parameters, try to organize, train the farmers which crop to go, because these are actually cash crops. And the farmers can earn good amount of money from these kinds of products. So this is where we have invested. We have figured out that, before launching a brand, trust is something we want our customers to have on us. So that's why we've invested that much time. That's patience that we have given 5 years into this. And that is, bringing us fruits now. So we are almost doubling our revenue figures every year, because that's the groundwork that we have done from 5 years. which is giving us, reaping the benefits now. So that's how we have been able to crack this up.
And I want to know from you, Nitesh, you've made a mark for yourself in the global market. Blue Tea has made a big mark in the global market. So what steps did you take to position an Indian tea brand internationally?
I think it is, US or Europe consider India, anything coming from India, any natural product coming from India, they regard it very high. Be it tea, be it Ayurvedic product. But it was kind of easier for us. And we started with something new, which was not in US itself. Some people were selling, but not as a brand. So we started selling different caffeine-free herbal tea products, and they kind of liked it. And what we did, US is a market where people like choices. They want something new and with choices. So we gave them blue tea option of around 14 kind of different flavors. They buy it only one. But when they saw 14 flavors, they thought it's a brand and they have something to give offer. So in US particularly, it helped. Also, what I feel in US, there's a thing called what you're doing for the society and where you're bringing your produce from. So we marketed, we communicated that we are getting these from farmers, and we have around 300 farmers who are helping us in doing it. And mind you, it plays a big role because they consider that as a brand, you have to be some cause driven and you have to do some benefit for the society. In India, it doesn't make much sense, but if you're doing something in US, it makes a very big sense. I think Abhishek is doing it. I will say, please promote this fact that you are getting this from farmers and you are creating an impact for them.
Perfect. Dharamveer, Zostel reimagines hospitality for young travelers. What was your thought process and how did you scale this idea? Like I said earlier, this is a very competitive market. How did you think that you can actually make this big in the Indian market, something so new? What was your thought process to this?
I think from day zero when we started, the vision was to, I wrote big blogs as well, to take it to every corner of India because it's a new concept, right? So it's a blue ocean as Nitesh was telling, right? So it's way easier, to make something new, I will say, as an entrepreneur, rather than going out and competing and trying to say I'm a better hotel or better budget or more valuable. So that was there. And because it was such a unique and passion-led, I will say, business that, truly, I personally also started off when I was 22. So truly did it for the revolution and then tried to figure out that, all revolutions must make money, right? Because that's how the world is. And it wasn't really optimized. So we really attracted a lot of high quality passion from community, from individuals. 2 of my first hires are still with me after 10 years. Those who stayed with us today, starting 10 properties were our leased, but today our 100 properties are all franchisees. So the community, and because the product makes money, the real estate yield are, supremely high, upwards of 50%, never heard of. And therefore people want to make money. We created an ecosystem that is still a supply constrained market. We haven't spent a single penny yet on any Google, Facebook or Instagram marketing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we still limited supply. So as soon as we open, we have a community that flocks in and it gets full.
I think community building is very important in your scale, in your line of industry.
Right.
So with all the years you've learned, you started something new, you've scaled it and made it reach a global platform, a huge platform in India as well. So if I had to ask you, if all three of you had to start from scratch today, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently? Abhishek, what would you have done differently?
So I think the idea of doing things fast, failing things fast, and reiterating things, I think that works really well. And I think if I have to start today, I think just to have this thought process of doing things fast, failing fast, and then reinventing things, I think that could have been get things rolling faster. I think that's one. Second is the importance of team building. From day one, what kind of people you choose for yourself, people you choose to work with. I think that creates a very big role on how your organization scales up and how well you position yourself. I think these are the two things will keep in mind when I start off second.
What would you change, Nitesh?
From the day one, I would have kept more focus on why.
Focused on?
Why?
Okay.
Why we existed? Why customers should buy from us? I think when we started, it was more of because me and my co-founder, both from middle class, and we want to do something. हमें business करना था. It was कुछ करना है. Life में मरने से पहले कुछ तो करके जाएंगे कि life लगे कि हाँ कुछ तो किया. तो वो idea था, कुछ करना था. तो ऐसा नहीं कि कोई business ही करना था, but we'll trying different thing and business हो गया. So initially it was not why. Initially it was more of कि हाँ green tea को tap करते हैं तो उसको tap करते हैं बढ़ते रहते हैं. But बहुत focus नहीं थे कि हमारा पूरा decision making was not on why. When we focus more on why, the result were non-linear, completely non-linear. So if I would started now, I would have from the day one focused on why and kept on focusing on why. I think if anybody wants to make a legacy brand, they have to focus on why, because if that is clear, you keep working on it, aa jayega, sab ho jayega, but why is the most important thing.
Like Dharamveer said, the product is key. You need to know your product well before you take it to the market.
Yes, yes.
Would you change something about your journey?
Me?
Yeah?
No, I think journey's been very exciting, but what you asked, what would you like to, if you're starting today,
Yeah.
so I think all of us, and personally, I always feel that, you are starting today, there you have to, as a CEO, founder, be on that sort of an edge. And I have been working on integrating those things that I would have started today. For example, these are, let's say, using AI agents, right? So let's say for that matter, even AI, just an integrated, much more. Now I can talk with 5,000 customers all the time who are staying with us. So can give them a much better security. Maybe use blockchain and digital assets for giving back that early community. I could, they all supported us. But monetarily, we did not have any sort of, let's say, a token play or a distribution play, which can have them a bit better part of it. So I'm a bit more nerdy in that sense. I feel the new technologies allow you, if you're building something today, you might as well have something that gives you an edge on incumbents in that fashion. So
that was going to be my next question about technology and innovation, because India's startup landscape in 2030 is going to look very different. So what role does technology and innovation play? Like, you cannot ignore it. What do you think about it?
Right. I think we are reaching, quantum physics and quantum sync level, because I answered your question before you asked me, right? So I think it proves that, technology is linear. So I'll just continue in that fashion, that both of all, especially I think with AI right now, and then with VR as well as AR, we are creating visual experiences of our properties before people are traveling there. So cool and exciting things are happening in that fashion, giving people more personalized recommendations of wherever they wish to travel, etc. Also, both of, I think Nitesh, Abhishek, both of their products also fit in very well with our, customers. The brand and the community is a lot about, working with people and who resonate with your user base. And so I think technology, yeah, all good.
I think collaboration is a key to growth, right? So have you collaborated with other startups? Would you want to do that to scale up your business, Abhishek?
Yeah, obviously, like in digital space, which has grown late 2012, 13s, I think to be able to have an access to a tier 2, tier 3 customers, I think technology has played a very good role, like fulfillment of customers, to be able to do fulfillment from a D2C website to a, say, northeast part of India. I think those kinds of partnerships, those kinds of collaborations are key to be able to, have a better access to the customers. So that's there. In case of technology, obviously, in a branded space, today customers are looking for much more personalization from a brand compared to say 2 decades ago, where, a single messaging can work for, almost a large part of population. So how can we have a technology plus how can we have personalized content for each customer? So I think that has to go hand in hand from a branded perspective.
So I wanted to ask from you, Nitesh, startups often operate in a very highly dynamic market. And we were discussing this backstage as well. Consumption patterns are changing. You don't know what's going to happen next, what people want. So how do you, that is a challenge, right? Because you can't have a 5-year plan anymore. Things are changing so rapidly. So how do you tackle that? What is your plan?
Very difficult question. I think very difficult for anybody to answer. But as a business, we try to keep our eyes and ear open, and we're seeing what changes are happening. We see other markets also, what is happening there. Many times it happens ki something is coming from there also, so we keep a tab on everything because we don't know. When Flipkart and Amazon were there, they were thinking, ki, boss, we invest in India for 10 years, then we'll have earn money. Then Q-commerce come. Who could have predicted कि Q-commerce आएगा और सारा उनका धीरे-धीरे business cut करता जाएगा. तो it's very tough. So I think what we are doing, we are trying to see क्या हो रहा है, and we are focusing on it, and I think that all we can do. I think.
You just have to wait it out, test the patterns. Do you have how do you tackle this?
I think being very close to your customers, I think to be able to have that communication channel directly from the customers plays a really key role. So like we have a culture where we spend, everyone from the core team have to spend at least 3 hours directly speaking to the customers, either offline, either online. So all these learnings coming onto the table, what can be done from then, I think that has become a table stake now. Like if you're not listening to your customers, you will be out from the market in the next year. So the time has gone where investors ask for a 5-year plan, 3-year plan.
Oh, so that doesn't happen anymore?
That does not happen anymore. I think that doesn't make sense now. So who, I think, as Nitesh was mentioning, who would have thought like quick commerce will change the whole retail landscape in India? So whoever brand has not prioritized their distribution for quick commerce now are struggling to save their customers, to save their category share. So I think being very close to your customer base really helps you take the dynamic decisions.
I think turning your first customer into a loyal customer, that is the key. That is very, very important. And you've done that very well with Zostel Dharamveer. So do you see a challenge? Because with the changing market, I think it is an advantage for you. Because I think now people want to travel a lot more. They want to have more experiences, and you're offering affordable travel experiences.
That's true, that's true. But we also keep expanding, I will say, markets, and the markets themselves also. Now there are, let's say, when we pioneered, the concept was new. Now there are various backpacker hostels per se. So we also like to do things as a DNA, as an entrepreneur. Why you are doing this, right? You're doing this because you like to have fun, right? And as both of them said, hear from the customer. So we hear that, for example, for us today, residential living, for that matter, or even how people are tripping, let's say traveling, those experiences have become outdated. So you have to continuously use that, where I was saying, let's say AI agent earlier, so it can be your trip partner, all throughout, which wasn't earlier possible as a travel agent, which used to happen, let's say, in SOTC.
Yeah.
But now we don't travel that fashion with a group travel that fashion. How does the young travel? How we are living in a society. Many times young people aren't able to, let's say, get a flat because they are single or bachelor, or because they belong to a particular caste or religion. So we are also taking even bolder steps and challenges towards, our core thing is making people meet, interact, have these safe spaces in which people make new friends. And that started off with people traveling, but it's gradually coming in cities as well, and a whole lifestyle,
So when you said that it all started as something fun, how difficult is a founder's life? How much fun is there? Like, how much time are you devoting to your workspace? What's work-life balance like for founders?
Right. So I think I'm a decently lazy individual, so the only reason I get shit done is because I'm like truly inspired, or I feel motivated for it, and like sticking to it, just looking at it from third person, now more than a decade. I am probably having fun what I'm doing, and I don't have my wife over here, to let you know how the work-life balance is going, and how I'm like probably telling her that this is work only, or having fun only while we are talking about work. So it's a part of me, as an entrepreneur. I think it's not something as an individual I do, is that I just operate, and the company and organization is designed around getting shit done.
What about you, Abhishek and Nitesh? You're taking your brands reaching global markets. How much time do you have for yourself?
I think being a health-specific brand, I give at least 2 hours to my body daily. That's my motto. I have to be fit, because if I fit physically and mentally, then I will be able to work for longer years. So that's why I'm able to give enough time to my body. But apart from that, to family it becomes difficult. So I have kept my Sundays only for family. Okay, I will not do anything on Sunday. I will be with my wife and son. So no matter what, I won't go anywhere on Sunday except it's very emergency situation. Because I think once we go, as a founders, as an entrepreneur, we love what we're doing. We are very passionate. But every night, every morning, every second, we think about our brand only. You can ask any founder. They think about Abhishek, Dharamveer, you can ask, every second they will thinking out something. It happens. Your mind works so fast, only thinking about your product, what you're going to do. But in the meantime, what happens now? You forget your family. And after a while, if your relationship suffers, then mentally you will go down because it's a long journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I think I give specific days and specific time to me and my family.
Abhishek, have you managed that?
I started when I was 22, and it was just after my college. And we have that, for us, after 8 years, it's still day one for us. The work never ends. And I have this habit of, working almost 12, 14 hours a day. And there are times, obviously, when, you realize suddenly, okay, oh, this year has gone by, and you have not dedicated enough time for your family. So I think important thing is to have a dedicated time, like a day of time for yourself and for your family, to be able to grasp eventually what is happening and what is the next step that you want to take. I think to have the ability to be able to take that day off, and to have been able to build that team that that can take care of the other processes where you are not available. I think that is one thing. Secondly, I think obviously your partners have to understand what you are creating and how much time it takes, and have to be empathetic about it. I think that's where I've been very lucky to have that partner to understand what we are building here. So I think that combined.
So passion's very important, but so is discipline. You have to take out time. There has to be a balance.
I want to add one thing. Family is very important because as founders, you're treated very well everywhere. But your family keep you on ground. घर में कोई इज्जत नहीं है.
So I'd like to get a piece of advice from all three of you. An advice that you wish someone had given to you when you started your journey. Because this advice will come in handy for all aspiring entrepreneurs who are here, who are watching this on YouTube, live right now on ABP Live. So what's that advice that you should have received? And I think everybody should keep in mind. Let's start with you, Dharamveer.
I think I would have loved to hear that, I can doubt myself less. And, I think that's one of the essential things. Keep hear everybody out, and then, you got an instinct for what you are doing. So you have to take your own decisions and be bold about it. So I think I will just take myself, whatever risk you are taking, you can take more. Whatever confidence you have, you can have more. And you should try to, I think this is probably the best time to be an entrepreneur, even if you're doing a job, doing a side hustle, from influencer to creating content. There's a lot of effort that can do high leverage for individuals today. And that's our community. Our whole Zoe community is about inspiring people to follow their heart, make a living doing something that they love to do, right? So it's never really work. And you have to take care of your physical and mental health because these things can consume you. So, but that's about it.
Nitesh, what is that advice that you should have got when you started your journey?
So I can give what I believe. Dream and go for the dream, no matter what. What it takes, go for that, because एक ही life है. जो करना है कर लो. इसके बाद पता नहीं life मिलेगी नहीं मिलेगी. तो I believed in this, and I'm still believing, and I'm just pushing myself to get my dream.
I think I've been lucky in my journey to have good mentors who, gave me good advices in different phases. I think one key advice that I got, and I really like to pass on, is actually there is no replacement of hard work. Like we have had this theory of, smart work greater than hard work. You have your smart work figured out. I think everyone is doing it. Like I think there's no replacement of hard work. Things have to be done right to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And there are no limits to achievements. I think to be able to dream big and to be able to give that out yourself before expecting it from other team members. I think this is the key advice that I have been given, and I would like to pass on to other entrepreneurs.
That is great advice. Well, our session's almost over. If anybody in the audience has a question, they'd like to ask? All right, there is a question.
I think is audible. Sorry, the stories are fascinating, and I am really loving this discussion. So I have one question. The startup life is very roller coaster, right? There are many ups and downs and stress moment, light moments. So that is the toughest time to manage the teams. Right? How do you inspire, motivate your teams? You have dream, right? And the team may not have the same wavelength. Right? How do you tackle that?
Not easy, good question, I will say. Team also, if you are able to instill this founder feeling and founder vibe with them, that, ups and downs, eating ambiguity for breakfast is part of the lifestyle, and there will be people who will be able to enjoy it, grow with it, and there will be people who will settle down at a level that, we are comfortable with this, because the only reason you are pushing the pedal is because you are trying to grow and do some new things. Business keeps stabilizing. There are modules that become predictable, right, in our businesses. And it's a core mindset and core team that wants to keep pushing the edge that, now we want to do this. It's about breaking things and doing. And as an individual, first of all, entrepreneur themselves should accept that, whatever is your philosophy. But life's a game, these ups and downs are what keeps us going. So
I think one more thing that helps here is the good transparency with the team. Like whatever happening inside with the company, you have to be really transparent with your team. Like, this is what it is happening, and this is us combined which have to take this, we have to get this time out. So I think being very transparent with them really helps out.
I think also standing up with them in tough times. For everyone tough times comes. And when you stand up with them, they look up to you. If you have done for them, they will do for you.
Passion, discipline, transparency. Very important for a startup to grow. Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for becoming a part of this session. I hope everybody enjoyed the insights. There is one more question. The session is, we have a time up here, but one more question, and then we'll end the session.
I'm Dr. Shikha. I work with GK Consulting, and we mentor startups for the past 10 plus years. So my question is to Farmlay. I'm a stickler for organic food without preservatives, and we buy from Sindhi dry fruits. Can you get me as a customer for Farmlay? What is your pitch for me to convert to Farmlay?
So I think the pitch is simple. So what Farmlay brings on table is the owning of supply chain. We own the whole supply chain from farm level.
I said I'm a stickler for organic food, preservative-free dry fruits.
Yeah. Yes, I'm saying what we bring onto the table is the whole owning of the supply chain. Like we own the supply chain from farmer level to the consumer level. So we have the whole controls of what is coming into the factory, what is going out to the customers. That whole supply chain is ours. So we have the full control, full visibility, full traceability of.
Is your products preservative free? That's the question. Is
our products, we just do natural products. Our products, we have a key, like we don't do any preservatives, we don't add anything outside from natural ingredients. Our ingredients are completely natural, and the whole process of taking it from the farmers to the consumers is done by us. So we are not relying on someone, okay, we are taking from a vendor who is ensuring the preservativeness. So it's on us because we own everything. So
okay,
that's how.
That's a brilliant USP, because people in the hall may not be even aware that dry fruits are the most preserved items.
Yeah.
So,
I think.
So, we are taking a lot of toxins inside in the form of dry fruits, which we pitch as healthy food, but a lot of preservatives, nitrites are going in.
Yeah. So when we started up, so the interesting study came up. So when you were doing survey and you were figuring out how dry fruits as an industry works out. So 95% of the almonds that we consume from the market are polished with a very harmful chemical to make it look shinier, to make it look more costly. So I think these are the things, because as a brand, you don't own the supply chain, you are never known what is coming into your brand. So that's why we invested 5 years just to ensure that we don't have any preservatives, we don't have anything other than the natural ingredients going in our brand.
So I'm sold. I have a question for Blue Tea, just a comment. are you on Indigo flight also? Because I love blue tea, and I've been asking them always, and I get blue tea, so that's you. Good to know you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being a part of this session.